Hello and welcome. Today we're discussing the future of screen-based rides with Katapult project producer Alex Tyrrell. Now, Alex has worked on some amazing technology-based experiences, as well as working for clients such as Lego, Disney, and Warner Brothers. Let's get his take on one of the most surprising findings from our recent theme park fan survey, where just 11% of guests said that they thought screen-based rides were more immersive than traditional rides. Here's what Alex had to say. Enjoy!
I wouldn't be. First of all, I love a good dark ride and I love a good classic theme
Mm,
park ride. But I think when we talk about like what is a classic theme park ride and then what is a current theme park ride, I think those rides have meaning depending on where you place them in a park and
mm,
depending on like who your audience is aimed for. And I guess it probably is going to be COVID pandemic like affected those figures, and that was a time when everyone was sort of just stuck on their phones and
mm,
looking through a screen. So there was a desire after that, you know, that period where people wanted to get outside and have something that was more tactile, and perhaps that might be, driving some of the responses that you had on your survey.
and
I mean, there are some great cup rides that are new that are out now, that do a very good kind of hybrid between screen-based
mm,
and live sets or animatronics or whatever. Um, and those ones are doing really well. Look at uh, things like Rise of the Resistance, for example. It's a
mm,
great ride. There's wonderful setworks integration, lovely animatronics. It is a dark ride in itself. It's got some cool effects, and then you know the tech is so good there that your brain is sort of tricked into believing that it's genuine what you're experiencing. I think that's when a dark ride that uses screens does it well because
mm,
you don't realize there's a screen there. Um, but then there are other rides where, you can clearly see that you're being placed in a big dome and you can see the edges of the screen and stuff. And that kind of takes away a bit of reality from you. Lack of engagement, people get bored. Is the rewritability good in those scenarios? But there's lots to be said from kind of having screens and having things like AR and attractions. You build that level of immersion.
mm,
Screen-based attractions can be more detailed because you can create these immersive digital worlds in there as well, that physical sets alone can't do. When you combine that with a physical set, you extend, your field of vision using a screen. Um, and you can put people in different environments. It's also really good for like action sequences. If your story of that attraction, requires lots of drama and quick changes, then screens will really help kind of help that dynamic storytelling. Um, but yeah, I mean, not everyone likes screens. You get motion sick. Some people get motion sick. Simulators cause motion sickness, or things like using 3D can, cause motion sickness, especially if it's not synced properly.
mm,
I think I went on a VR ride once. It was a haunted house, and it had VR on it, and it wasn't quite synced with what the ride vehicle was doing, and it was very discombobulating experience for me. But yeah, it was yeah. So that's probably why you've got to be very careful. I kind of like to verge away, or I hope we're verging away from VR in that traditional sense where you put a headset on, and yeah, because that's very exclusive. How
mm.
is that a shared experience with everyone else who's riding that with you? VR as an afterthought. It's been added on to an attraction that was already doing quite well before, and the attraction wasn't designed around VR being the vessel to which you experience in that sight and visual experience of that attraction. However, some attractions, look at what's going on in Universal, where you've got the Bowser's ride from Nintendo World. That's a really, really good use of augmented reality, and that's that hybrid between a digital kind of set or element on your headset, combining it with the physical sets, which kind of adds more to that storytelling level of immersion. those carts don't go very fast, but when you've got those flashing lights you can see beside you in your eyes, it makes you feel like you're traveling a lot faster, and it kind of pulls you deeper into that story. So there are good points of having something over your head. But yeah, I mean, another recent ride, I suppose, that's kind of gone away from, will try to convince you that it's not a screen-based ride, is Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, because that one you wouldn't really know you're looking at screens. The whole thing is projected pretty much, and it's got that I think Disney call it 2.5D or something. We don't need glasses. Everything looks like it's kind of coming out at you, and you don't really feel like you're looking at screens because of the way it's done. Is very good. It's a very, very good blend. And then when there are people nowadays that are doing, I think it's Freckled Sky, isn't it, that are doing really good use of mixed reality storytelling, and I think perhaps that might be where dark rides kind of go, really tricking your brain into thinking that there is not a screen there, and you're really kind of experiencing this level layered sort of experience. But going back to your original point about, why do we think people, or why are people favoring, more traditional classic rides? There is something that's very comforting about, seeing, having a physical set, seeing, something that's tactile, something that's real, feeling, water ice is a good example, having the scent of that of the bromine in the water as you go through, it's memorable. Pirates of the Caribbean is a classic dark ride that doesn't need digital sets in its current version. However, you go look at a very well executed alternative version of that in Shanghai, where like you're in these giant projection domes and they look absolutely fantastic, and that's a very good blend. I think it really depends how you're approaching it. If that is, the intent from the beginning that you're going to use, digital technology or technology in an attraction, then that's, the next question is, where's it going to go? How are we going to use it? How does it contribute to the storytelling? And how can we hide it so we make sure the guest feels like they're getting a genuine level of immersion? You can do some very simple tricks with, projectors, and look at Pepper's Ghost Effect. That's an ancient, a piece of tech that it was that it relies on projection and glass and mirrors, and it's still a staple that's used in lots of attractions today, and it still creates a very good experience and a very good effect. But then I think something's on the rise, more like storytelling coasters. So kind of going from, people love riding a roller coaster because a roller coaster is really fun. You get to grip onto the harness or the restraint, and you get to feel this wind rush past you, and you're doing all these really, really cool things. Then blending it well with good storytelling and also good technology as well, to kind of, as you say, kind of create that extra layer of immersion. But yeah, I mean, as I said at the beginning, I'm a sucker for old-fashioned dark rides, and something that you can hold on to and see. But that's a nostalgia thing with me, I think. It's definitely down to how well you integrate that technology and how well you kind of disguise it to make sure that you're not giving away the tricks. You can't really stop guests from looking over their shoulder or kind of like leaning forward a little bit too much, but you could certainly kind of hook them in with a good story so they don't have to pay too much attention to how it's all running.
Come on, come on.